kind of a fitting record, a song, probably more of a song of peace than of war, but still coming out as the Vietnam War was escalating big time in the spring of 1966. The Cruel War by Peter, Paul, and Mary. And boy, it was a big mover on Billboard's Hot 100 in May of 1966, May 7th, 1966. Let me find it real quick. Here it is. It debuted at number 90. It jumped to 69. Up to 53, no, up 10 to 59 on Billboard's Hot 100 of May 7th, 1966. It was a big hit on the adult charts. It was from their sixth album, Peter, Paul, and Mary. It's called the Peter, Paul, and Mary album. Some very distinguished musicians played on this album, including Mike Bloomfield. He played guitar on this album. Al Cooper, the guy who was in the Blues Project, and founded one of the founding members, I believe, one of the original members of Blood, Sweat, and Tears. He played organ on this album, and Paul Butterfield playing a harmonica on this record, produced by Albert Grossman. Albert Grossman, who assembled Peter, Paul, and Mary back in the early 60s. At one time, he managed Peter, Paul, and Mary and Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan's Blowing in the Wind. Bob Dylan wrote Blowing in the Wind. Albert Grossman gave the song to Peter, Paul, and Mary. They recorded that song in one take. It became a hit for them, for Peter, Paul, and Mary. He also discovered Janis Joplin. Gosh, that's another story right there, but can't get into it right now. And let's get to this album. There's a couple of things I want to mention about this album. A couple of cuts I want to mention, talk about on this album. Here it is. Probably the best known song off this album was Hurry Sundown, but they also cover, oh, this is beautiful. This is just so dang rich. They covered And When I Die. And When I Die was written by Laura Nyro, the brilliant, the beautiful, gosh, my goodness. What a scintillating songwriter. She wrote that, And When I Die, and she gave it to Peter, Paul, and Mary. She recorded this song when she was 17 years old, but she gave it to Peter, Paul, and Mary, sold it to them for $5,000. And they put it on this album. Peter, Paul, and Mary did on their sixth album. But then it became a massive hit for Blood, Sweat, and Tears in 1969, going to number 2. And on this album, they cover, Peter, Paul, and Mary covers, oh, yes, Kiss is Sweeter Than Wine. Originally done by the Weavers in 1950, but it was Jimmy Rogers, probably best known version by Jimmy Rogers back in 1957, back in the sock-off years. Well, here we go at what number was that again? I believe it was number 59. My goodness, let me bring that thing up. Hang in there with me. Number 59, yes, the can't pronounce this. I can't pronounce that word cruel. The Cruel War by Peter, Paul, and Mary at number 59, Billboard's Hot 100, May 7th, 1966.